In 2010, a woman named Lori Ruff took her own life inside her family's home in Longview, Texas, and weeks later, her husband would open a locked box in her closet and realize the woman he had married had never actually existed. If you're drawn to cases that don't add up even after they're solved, subscribe to Untold Record. This is exactly what we do here. She was in her early 40s when she died and had been married for several years to a man named Blake Ruff. Together they had a young daughter and lived what looked like an ordinary suburban life. She kept a clean home. She read a lot. She didn't talk much about her past, and when she did, the details stayed vague. She said she had grown up in Arizona. She said her parents were gone. She said she had no siblings worth keeping in touch with. The story shifted slightly depending on who was listening, but no one pushed because no one had a reason to. She had a driver's license, a social security number, a birth certificate. Everything looked normal. Until the box was opened. After her death, her husband eventually unlocked a metal strongbox she had kept hidden in the closet. Inside were documents that didn't match the life she had lived. A birth certificate belonging to a girl named Becky Sue Turner. Old identification cards. Court paperwork showing a legal name change. And handwritten notes that reference people no one in the family had ever heard of. The deeper the documents went, the less sense they made. Because Becky Sue Turner had died in a house fire in Washington state in 1971, at the age of 2. Which meant the woman who called herself Lori Ruff had been using the identity of a child who had been dead for nearly 40 years. The discovery turned the household upside down. Her husband had no idea who he had married. Her in-laws didn't know who had raised their grandchild. The woman in the family photos suddenly had no verifiable past before the mid-1980s. Investigators began retracing the paperwork. It turned out that in 1988, someone had requested a copy of Becky Sue Turner's birth certificate from Washington. That document was then used in Idaho to apply for a state ID. The same ID was used shortly after to legally change the name from Becky Sue Turner to Lori Erica Kennedy. Lori Kennedy later moved to Texas, married Blake Ruff, and became Lori Ruff. 3 identities. 1 person. No real name. Fingerprints didn't match any criminal database. Dental records led nowhere. There were no missing persons reports that lined up with her description. It was as if she had stepped into existence as an adult. And no one knew why. For years, the case was passed between journalists, genealogists, and Social Security investigators. The mystery wasn't a crime in the traditional sense, it was an absence. A woman with no childhood. No verified family. No origin. The breakthrough finally came through DNA. A forensic genealogist named Colleen Fitzpatrick worked the case for years using publicly available genealogy databases. By analyzing distant DNA matches and building a reverse family tree branch by branch, she narrowed the possibilities down to a single family in Pennsylvania. In 2016, the woman known as Lori Ruff was identified. Her real name was Kimberly McLean. She had grown up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. She had family. She had a mother. She had a stepfather. She had been a real, documented teenager until around 1986, when she walked away from home after a difficult period in her family life and never returned. She had been 18 years old. From that point on, she had quietly erased herself. She moved across the country, obtained a dead child's birth certificate, built a new identity, then built another one on top of it. She married. She raised a daughter. She lived a full adult life under a name that had never been hers. Her family in Pennsylvania had spent decades wondering what happened to her. They never knew she had been alive the entire time, living 1,000 miles away under someone else's name. In 2016, the identity of Lori Ruff was officially confirmed as Kimberly McLean of Pennsylvania. No crime was ever charged. The case remains classified as a personal disappearance, voluntarily executed and concealed for nearly 30 years. And sometimes the most unsettling cases aren't the ones where someone vanishes. They're the ones where someone disappears completely.